Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Drew. This is Just a Guy Linux, and it has been a few weeks, and I don't usually put out videos until I feel strongly about something. And I don't know if many of you know, but I'm on the LinuxCast podcast basically as a regular at this point. I've done about, 10 episodes so far. And Matt and I talked about Nextcloud in the last podcast. And while I was actually looking at the comments on the video, I thought to myself, man, it's not glowing. And I thought to myself, I love Nextcloud. I guess let me just put it that way. And I thought that there was quite a few people that maybe did not have the same experience as I did or did not feel as strongly positive as I do. So I wanted to talk about that today and actually do an installation of Nextcloud. And by the way, there is the brand new one out, brand new Nextcloud version 30. It's called Nextcloud Hub 9. And man, this is going to be a multi-part video. So, but for today, we are going to install it, not in a Docker container, not using Snap, but the old-fashioned way on a Ubuntu server. Beyond that, I want to talk about the hardware briefly, but I also want to talk about the fact that I'm going to be using Cloudflare tunnels to be able to reach the server on my network outside of my network. Okay, so it is a simple, one of these tiny Optiplex 7050s. I've got actually a smaller one, but it's being used right now. So this one was free, and I decided to just go ahead and use this one. Like I said before, I'm going to be using Cloudflare. So let's talk about that. I mentioned in a podcast that I moved maybe half of my domain portfolio over to Cloudflare. It was a little bit cheaper than what I was using before, and I really like the DNS tools. Not to mention, like I said, I'm using this tunneling so that I can actually get to my Nextcloud instance by way of their DNS. And I'm very happy with it so far. So I have documented everything, and I will leave a link in the description below regarding everything that you see here. Now, I'm going to use this on this video quite a bit, actually, and it outlines the Cloudflare setup, but it also outlines how I do the installation on Ubuntu 24.04. So I will briefly refer to the Cloudflare when we get to that point, but let's get started right now. All right, gang, let's start off with Ubuntu 24.04. Link in the description below. Have I done this on Debian? I think that's going to be a question that many of you will have. Yes, I have. And make sure that you are looking at the right documentation. If when I leave a link, though, it will be to the correct documentation on my website. Now, like I said, there will be two documents, basically one for Ubuntu, one for Debian. The reason why I'm using Ubuntu, I think it's more commonly used if you were to do this on something like Linode. Okay, so that's one of the reasons. But we are actually going to be hosting it at my house. So let's just start off with what I'm using as hardware, which is the Dell 7050 that I bought for less than $300 easy. And there's going to be definitely more than one use for this. However, let's start off by just installing Ubuntu server. Okay, so I'm just going to hit enter. Did I hit enter? Oh, there we go. I guess I didn't hit enter. I must have hit the shift key. All right, this should not take very long, and simply because we are going to do this in a very, very sparse way. But I may pause, but I may not either. I'm not sure yet. So far, no pause. Maybe I should have, right? Now, this, I'm just going to say this, as far as the Dell that I'm using, definitely overkill, okay? If you had something a lot lighter, it would be completely fine. This just happens to be my test machine. I have this installed on a lesser machine, I guess is the right way to say it. I'm not sure which one. I want to say it's the 3050 using an i3 processor. But anyway, you get the idea. I don't know that you need like a heavy duty machine to do this. In fact, you definitely don't. Okay. So I am going to select English here. Okay. Oh, by the way, I don't know why it's kind of like not as responsive as it should be. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and arrow up to update to the newer installer. I don't know that you have to. I'm just going to do it just because I think it's probably a good idea to do that. Okay, that was quick. All right, well, obviously I need the English US, so I'm just going to hit OK or done. Now I am going to go ahead and use the tab key, okay? And I am going to go down to where the block is for search for third-party drivers, and I am going to go ahead and select it by using the space bar and then go back down using tab again to done and clicking on OK or hitting enter. Okay, and I think it's better to have it and not need it. I guess that's the, why I'm doing it. Now I am going to kind of note that I'm using both wire and wireless connection. I am also kind of mentally remembering what this IP address is. So it's .80 at the end. Okay, and done. Now I am not going to put a proxy address in. Now this might take a second or two, but mind the thing that says mirror location is being tested. You can go ahead and say done here, but don't, just give it a second, okay? And let it go through the process of saying tested and passed. There it is. It's passed already, and so done. Now, while I get that there are some advanced features for setting up the LVM, I am going to deselect it. It's simpler for me to wipe this machine later. And not to mention, I don't know that it's absolutely necessary. I know that there's going to be some pushback. Okay, I'm aware of that. Someone in the comments is going to go, hey, you messed up. You should have done it that way, a different way. I'm just not, okay? I'm just letting you know ahead of time that that I'm going to deselect the LVM group for simplicity only, okay? And now I'm going to tab down to done, and I'm going to hit done again, and I'm going to arrow down to continue. Now I'm going to put my name in, and I use Las Vegas hotels a lot of times for servers or whatever named. So this is going to be called Venetian. Again, my name and a couple passwords, and let's go with done. And I'm not going to enable Ubuntu Pro, so all I have to do is hit continue. I'm going to use the spacebar here to select install OpenSSH server, and I'm going to go down and tab down to done. No third parties, at least for me, but we did select it just to see. So I'm going ahead and just say continue. Now, I don't know if any of you guys heard the podcast where we talked about Nextcloud on the LinuxCast. Again, link in the description below, where I said that installing Nextcloud via Snap was probably the easiest way to do this, okay? Again, I am not going to be doing that. That doesn't mean that this is not a very good way to install, especially because it will auto update. But like I said, I am going to be doing it the way I set it up, and I'm going to be using MariaDB. and I automatically know where the files that I want to change are by not using snap as the install method. So I am not selecting anything here. If you choose to, you can really kind of like, oh, I'm going to highlight right here and install it, and your Nextcloud instance will be installed. Again, I've explained reasons why I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to go down here and hit done. Now it's going to take another minute or two to update and to install everything that needs to be installed. And then once we're done with that, we're going to log in to this machine via SSH. So I'm just going to wait it out for a minute or two. And actually, you guys don't need to see it update. And then all I'm going to do is reboot after this. So that's where I'm going to pause. All right, now that we've installed Ubuntu Server, we are back on our machine so that we can connect to it using OpenSSH. So I'm just going to open up a terminal and say SSH, and then my username, and then the name of the server is called Venetian, okay? And I'm just going to say yes, okay? And let's go ahead and log in, and let's clear the screen. All right, now, while I'm thinking about it, okay, with Cloudflare, you have these tunnels that allow you to get to the server, which is located wherever you have it located. Okay, so basically I have to provide my IP address, which I'm not going to show obviously, but I can show my internal IP address. Okay, so I am going over here and I'm just going to call this tunnel Nextcloud. Okay, and I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it over here. I'm going to just go say paste anyway. And I'm going to select, just go ahead and hit enter, and then verify that I'm doing this. And there you go. I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. Now what I'm going to do also is I'm going over here to the public host name. Okay. And as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and edit here. I set up the subdomain my, and we're going to call this justaguylinux.cloud. And this is my internal IP address. Okay, so that's all that needs to be done. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this because I don't need this anymore. Let's go down a little bit further, and I want to go ahead and select all of these packages that I think should be installed for this particular build. Now, I've definitely picked the ones kind of like custom picked these, so I'm just going to go ahead and install these. I also want to switch out my bash RC. So once this is done, I'm going to go get my bash RC, because I don't know if you saw, but I installed EZA so that I can do a really, LS the way I normally do. And so this is going to take a minute, but still, the goal is for me to have my normal bash RC file. Now, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about this. There are a couple things here that needed to be installed for later, and including Build Essential. Actually, Build Essential may or may not be necessary, but I am installing the Redis server to make this Nextcloud instance quite a bit more robust when it comes to file locking. Okay, so this is not something that a lot of people do, but I'm kind of like using this as a way to beef it up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste it, and I'm going to remove my bash RC, get the one that I want, and then move it to the right spot. Okay, and there you go. So now, I don't know if you saw, but like this was my PS1 line, and now this is my PS1 line. And so let me go ahead and clear. Now when I do LS, you can see that it looks different. Okay, and actually I don't even need that Cloudflare deb anymore. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. Okay, now I am going to go ahead and make sure that everything is up to date and clean. So let's do that. I'm not sure if there are updates, but if there are, actually 30 something, I didn't even notice. All right. We'll give that a shot. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Maybe I should make this full screen. This is a lot easier for me to do it this way. I hope it's okay for you guys. Okay. Let's go ahead and clear again. Oop, wrong one. Clear again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say sudo nano and then etc hostname. Okay. And now all I'm going to do is add this, which is, and again, if you're doing this differently, obviously you're going to want to change this. But for me, it's just as simple as pasting the my.justaguylinux.cloud, which was the one that we did with Cloudflare. So I'm just going to go Control O, Enter, and Control X, and we're done with that. Now, let's go ahead and copy this, which is changing the hosts file. Okay. And you're seeing here that already Venetian is in this slot for 127.0.1.1. And I'm going to just add this to the end. So use the subdomain that you've been working on. And then just do a space. And then let's go ahead and paste. And that should be fine. So let's go ahead and Control O, Enter, and Control X. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and reboot. Oop. Wrong one. Okay. Now this should only take a second, but as soon as I do, I am going to go ahead and copy this, which is how to get the latest version of Nextcloud. You go to the download, nextcloud.com server, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So I'm not sure if this is ready to go yet, but let's see. Okay, and it is. And let's go ahead and paste this. And let's go ahead and just get that zip file. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to install MariaDB. Now shout out to Jay at LearnLinuxTV. He has inspired a lot of what I'm going to do here. Okay, it's not exactly the way he did it. However, I should give credit where credit is due. Jay at LearnLinuxTV, awesome, and I will tag him somewhere somehow just to say how blessed we are to have him do this stuff. I'm going to go ahead and say, let's go ahead and just get this, and let's copy that. We could do both probably at the same time, but I'm just going to do one at a time. And let me go ahead and copy this too. Okay, let's go ahead and clear. And what we're going to do next is this MySQL secure install. So let's go ahead and just hit that. Again, following the directions, we just say current root password. Do I want to enter for none? That's right. Okay, and then as far as Unix socket authentication, the answer is no, so N. All right, and then change the root password. We are definitely going to, so I'll either hit enter or Y, so I'm going to hit enter, and the new password. So I just have to come up with something. I'm not going to do something more robust than basically I'm going to wipe this machine. So it doesn't really matter what password I'm going to type in, but you're not going to see it anyway. Okay, so I'm just going to put in some stuff. Okay, and then okay, let's say remove Anonymous users, yes, enter. We don't want to, we're going to disallow or remote login. We say enter. Remove the test database, yes. We're going to reload the privileges, yes. And there you go. Okay, so I'm going to log into MariaDB by saying sudo MariaDB. All right. And now what we're going to do is, and notice the password here is my password. Okay. And I'm not going to change that, but you will want to. Okay. So, because you don't want there to be a terrible password for your Nextcloud instance, for your database. So I'm just going to go like this. And it went ahead and created the database. It granted all the privileges. It added the password as my password. And now it's waiting for me to say flush privileges. And the answer, I'm just going to hit enter. And now it's done. And we're done with setting up the database. Okay. So all we need to do now is Control D. All right. And let's go ahead and clear the screen. Next, let's go down and we're going to use this Apache packages, Apache server, and we're going to copy these packages and paste them. Okay. Now again, I put in this PHP Redis. It's for later. We'll go ahead and actually just copy this. These are Apache modules that we're going to enable. I think I'm actually bulletproofing my my documentation at the same time here. Okay, let's go ahead and just paste this in, which is these modules that we're going to use. Okay. We're not going to necessarily need to restart Apache yet. So we're just going to go copy that and we're going to enable these PHP modules. Okay. And now let's go ahead and clear and let's go ls again. We do have this latest.zip. So this is what we're going to unzip. This is Nextcloud. So we're going to unzip and then latest. Oop, there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and clear the screen. So what we're going to do now, though, is we're going to move it according to what Jay did. Like I said, we're going to move Nextcloud. Let's just actually let's ls. Oop. There we go. We're going to move this directory to the name of the subdomain. Okay, so let's just we're going to paste that. So we're going to move Nextcloud, this directory, to my.justaguylinux.cloud. Okay, cool. Now, we're going to change the ownership. And we're going to change it so that www.data -data is the owner. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. And now we're going to move the Nextcloud instance to the Apache www directory. So let's do that. All right. And let's go ahead and disable the website, which is the current website. So if you need to know actually that it's actually working, I'm going to go to my.justaguylinux.cloud, and there's the Apache page. Just to let you know that this is what's current as a default page. And by the way, everything, this is what we use that tunnel installation for, so that we could get to this. All right. And this happens to be located at my house. All right. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just going to move over here. So I'm going to, let me just make sure I copy that again, and then I'm going to put that over here and paste it. All right. And now I'm going to copy this. So basically what I'm saying is this is what I want to be the default location for Apache. So it's going to go to that configuration file, okay? All right. And now all I'm going to do is copy this. Again, there are a bunch of my.justaguylinux.clouds in this, okay, that you're going to need to change if this is if you're going to do this for yourself, okay? So what I'm going to do is it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you're going to have to change in order for it to work correctly, all right? And now I'm just going to go Control-O, Enter, and Control-X, and let's clear the screen. Now I'm going to add this to Apache. Copy that to make this the default. And let's go ahead and restart Apache. Okay. Now, there are some things that I wanted. I'm just going to actually refresh and see what happens here. Okay. Now, there it is. But we don't have to do this yet. I want to go ahead and adjust some PHP settings as well as some other things before we do the initial installation. Okay. So, with Ubuntu 24.04, it's using 8.3, the PHP version. I think with Debian stable, it's 8.2 if I'm correct, but regardless, make sure that you're using the right one. Hopefully you're just following along with the exact same software. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this and paste this here, and we're going to modify this PHP ini. And I apologize ahead of time. It's going to take a little bit of time to do this. Now, I am changing quite a bit of memory limits and so on and so forth. So make sure that you take the time to do this. So I'm going to hit Control-W over here to search for memory _limit. Okay, let me just go ahead there. And there's the first one. And it says 128. And we're going to actually just change that to 512. Okay. And now we're going to go and let's do the same thing. We're going to go Control-W and upload. Max. Oh, I must have hit an extra key, but that doesn't matter. Okay. And there it is. It says 2 megabytes. Now this is a problem some people will have. They'll go, I can't like upload larger files, okay? And this is the reason why. Upload max file size is 2 megabytes by default, all right? And that is incredibly small. So make sure that you are taking advantage of this. I'm just gonna say 2 gigabytes here, just for simplicity, all right? I'm also going to, let's go, what's the next one down? Max execution. Because of the size, I might need more execution time in order for the upload to, for it to upload. So let's go ahead over here and say max execution, all right? And it says, because 30 seconds might not get it done, all right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make it 6 minutes, okay? Just by adding the 6, all right? Let me go again and say post max size is 8, all right? And again, I don't want to necessarily have that as that size, so I'm just going to use 2 gigabytes again. All right. Let's Control-W and say date.timezone. All right. So we're going to remove this leading semicolon, and for me, I live in the eastern part of the United States, so I'm going to say America. And then /New York. Make sure that if you don't live over here, that you make it, like if you're Chicago or what have you, make sure you make that change, okay? All right, so Control-W. And the next thing down is opcache.enable. And there it is. Again, this is this needs to be removed. The comment there, the semicolon, leading semicolon, needs to be removed to enable the op cache to be 1. All right. Now there's a couple things here. Now I'm just going to highlight. There's this. The next one down is this op cache interned strings. Okay, and that's set to 8, and I want it to be 32. So I'm going to go down here, remove that, and instead of it 8, there we go, 32. All right, and max accelerated files is the next one down. I'm just going to uncomment that. All right. Oh, and then there's the memory consumption. We're just going to remove the comment for that. We may need to go down a little bit further. Okay, right there. This is this line right here, op cache revalidate. And we're going to remove this semicolon, and we're going to go over and change the 2 to a 1. And we are going to this save comments, and we're just going to remove that semicolon. And now that's all. Okay. So it didn't take that long. Maybe it did. I don't know. And then we're going to go ahead and write. So Control O, enter, and Control X, and we are done with that. All right. Now let's go ahead, and we're going to add one more thing. We're going to enable the APC. So copy this and paste. And we're going to add this line, actually. Copy this. And let's actually just go ahead and paste. And let's Control O, enter, and Control X. All right. And now let's go ahead and restart Apache. Let's copy that and enter. All right. Now let me just switch this to a different screen real quick. We're going to go over here. And now what we're going to do is we are going to actually do the installation using the web browser. So you're going to create an admin account. All right. Mine's not going to be Drew. And then I'm going to use a password. Now the database is going to be Nextcloud. If you are following along, the database password is going to be my password. Okay. Now, hopefully you didn't use the same one I did. All right. My password, but you're going to put in that password that you used in command line to create that Nextcloud database. And we're going to say the database name is called Nextcloud as well. And we're going to hit install. Okay. So it's going to take a second or two. Again, I really like the fact that we're using a different database than the lightweight one that it comes with. This is, like I said, I think it's a little bit more robust. And we are going to, there's really no reason to skip this. So what I'm going to do is just say install recommended apps. All right. It's going to take a minute or two just to get through this. Okay, cool. I'm just gonna close this actually. There we go, close this. And the very first thing that I want to do is show you the administrative settings. Okay, because what it's going to show you are all of these kind of errors, but not really. They're not errors. Only one here is in red. Then the yellow ones are basically warnings, and then there's some other things here that you may want to address. I'm going to try to knock them all out, okay? That was my goal. I wanted nothing here except that there were no errors, okay? So let's go ahead. Let me separate these two, and let me move this back over to workspace 1 so that I can look at this at the same time. All right. So the next step is that I want to chmod my config.php file. So I'm going to paste this. All right. And then I'm going to change the ownership to root and www-data. And we're going to do that. Okay. Now the OCC allows us to fix this one thing called missing optional indices. Let's go back over here for a second. And it says right here, missing optional indices. All right. So in order to fix that, we're going to copy this and we're going to paste that there. All right. And now we're going to put this command in where it says add missing indices. All right, so I'm going to copy this, and there you go. So it's fixing all of those. All right, let's go ahead and clear the screen. That's one down, I think. Let's go back over, and I'm just going to hit refresh. All right, that missing indices is now gone. Okay. Now, what was the next one? MIME types and migrations. I want to make sure that that's still there. So MIME types and migrations, is that? Oh, right here. One or more MIME type migrations are available. So let's go ahead and fix that as well, okay? So all we need to do is copy this. We're going to do this OCC maintenance repair include expensive. Okay, so let's go ahead and paste that in. And there it is. And let's go ahead back over here and hit refresh. Oops. Okay, well, I did make a mistake. I think the thing that I need to do is actually change the ownership back. So I'm going to go sudo chown www-data www-data, and then the name of the config.php file. So once I do that, okay, and I should be good to go. So I'm going to go back over here, and when I hit refresh, not only is it resolving correctly, but that what I don't even remember what we actually fixed. Oh, the MIME type migrations that we were working on seems to be gone. Okay, so I'm going to keep it like that for now, and I will definitely adjust my my documentation on this. So just be aware. Sorry. Now I am going down one more. There are a bunch of them. Server has no maintenance window start time. The database is used for transactional locking. No memory cache has been configured, so on and so forth. Okay, and there's a bunch of them right here. Okay, and it's this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. They can all be done in one shot here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go back to this file, okay, and we're going to copy and paste all of these. Now notice I'm removing this maintenance equals false, okay, so let me go over here, and I'm going to go Control K just to remove that, but I am going to copy this, all right. And now I'm going to go and get a space, and then I'm going to paste that. Okay. Now, granted, I do want to I want to make sure everything lines up correctly. Actually, and let's talk about this. Okay, for a sec. Let me go to the beginning. Okay. Sorry, this is maybe should have been done maybe off camera. Okay. And that's all. So what we're doing here, though, okay, is we're putting in an SMTP so that when there is a need for it to send an email from Nextcloud, it can do that. Let's say you want to share a file, a directory rather, with somebody else. You need to actually set up SMTP to do that, okay? Now, I've just put in like sample stuff here, all right? If you wanted to use Gmail or what have you. I always use an app-specific password for Gmail, and that way it's really easy to use. Anyway, all of this is to send mail from your Nextcloud instance, okay? The maintenance Windows start is about 1 a.m. So instead of it being false, we're basically saying start around 1 o'clock. There is a local mem cache, but at the same time, we're using this Redis logging so that you can have a more robust Nextcloud. That's at least my understanding of that. I am also including the default phone region. And since I'm using Nextcloud, since I'm using Cloudflare for an HTTP, I don't know if this is going to make sense at all. Basically, what I'm saying is I don't necessarily need you to flag an HTTPS problem. Let me actually show you what that means. So accessing site insecurely. Well, you can see that I'm using HTTPS, so it's not necessarily insecure because Cloudflare is using this HTTPS protocol. So I'm just saying, you don't need to flag that. All right. So now when I go over here to my terminal, I've added all of these things. I hit Control O, Enter, and Control X. And I'm going to go over and see how we did. All right, so I should have a bunch of these things gone. So let's go ahead and refresh. And wow, everything got kind of like knocked down except this one. And so we've got it fixed for that too. All right, so we're going to go over here and we're going to copy this. This is for Apache, and we're going to paste that. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to kind of go underneath this directory. So see how I said, oh, I didn't actually put that in. All right, so what I'm going to do though is I'm going to copy this if module. Okay, this is a module that's already been enabled, and I'm going to go and kind of place it underneath this directory. Okay, and so let's go ahead and paste. And should be actually, let me just do it like that. Okay, and let's go ahead and now save this, and let's go ahead and exit. Now for this one, you're going to have to restart. So I'm going to go ahead and paste that in. All right, and that should fix that. Oh, you know what though? I need to document this better. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this is part of the config.php, and I will do that quickly before this video gets released. But what I'm going to explain is, let me go back up, and we're going to change this config.php again. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It's in this array here, all right? So I want to add a couple more things. Basically, I'm going to, let's actually just go ahead and copy this, all right? And we're going to go down, and I'm going to go ahead and just go Control K, and then let's go ahead and just paste this in, okay? And actually, let's go ahead and that should do it. Okay, so I'm actually adding a bunch of trusted domains, because if let's say I want to get to it via the IP address, which is my local IP address. If I want to, actually, that's not even right. It's this is a misspell. I found some stuff that I need to fix. Okay, so it's called Venetian. All right, and then it also has the my.justaguylinux.cloud in. So all of these things should be a trusted domain. And so all I'm going to do is go Control O, Enter, and Control X. Let's go back over and see if this transport header has been resolved. And everything there are no more warnings. Okay, no more warnings in this. So this is where I stop for the day. Okay, and we're going to talk about the way you can set up Nextcloud in the next one. But thank you for watching, and I appreciate your time. Bye.